A journey begins with one small step. It doesn't matter how hard you hit, whether you win or lose. What matters is that you have a common goal. And to reach that goal, it takes a band of brothers acting as one. Every week, we come together to witness these gladiators of the gridiron pour their heart and soul onto the field. This is Friday Night Rivals on MyTV WQMY.
Welcome to historic Crispin Field in Berwick, Columbia County. Tonight, it's a matchup between the top two 4A teams in the state as number 2 Valley View takes on number 1 Berwick. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Ide, and welcome to week number 6 of high school football. Joining me, as always, Hall of Fame coach Stan Kaharski and former Tunkhannock area coach Jan Sechak. And Stan, we'll go to you first. Last November, Valley View came in here, won the district title. Both teams looking at this as a big game.
Both teams in both communities have great anticipation for this game. They're both 5-0. They've handled all of their opponents very readily. And certainly the memories of November of last year rest with both these teams. And Valley View thinks that they can win on this field, and Berwick doesn't want them to do that.
Let's talk about the Cougars first, averaging over 30 points per game on their offense. Main reason why they return everyone on the offensive line. Our Clarkie's Billiard Spotlight player, Mason Cordish, has really accomplished a lot because of that offensive line.
He'd be the first to congratulate that group of 5 returning linemen. He's a great runner. He's very shifty. He's not very big, but his ability to avoid tackles is evident. You're going to have to really get bodies on him, and certainly he finishes all of his runs, which for my money is a great trait for running backs.
Well, Jan, let's talk about Berwick. Their defense is really playing well, 9.6 points per game giving up. Their offense over 31 points per game. Our other Clarkie's Billiard Spotlight player, Owen Shoemaker, has really stepped in as the top running back.
694 yards rushing this year, 8 touchdowns, 6.5 yards average carry. His demeanor, his stature, he's short, he's stocky, he's strong, and he runs extremely hard. And as Stan said earlier, he credits that younger offensive line for all his success this year.
Another beautiful night for high school football in northeastern Pennsylvania. Let's check out the weather now with Mike Linden from the Fox 56 News, first at 10.
A beautiful evening for football tonight, Bob, albeit a bit of a chilly one. Bear in mind the lower 50s is pretty much normal for this time of year. A little cooler than where we've been lately and drier as well. You're just not going to really feel that humidity out there tonight. The wind's nice and light, good for those punters and kickers, but overall a beautiful evening for some weather, and it looks like fantastic conditions like these are likely to follow us into the weekend too.
Thank you, Mike. It's the much anticipated game in the state. It's number 2 Valley View and number 1 Berwick next.
Do you know a student or fan of tonight's game? Call them now and tell them they can watch on any computer, tablet, or smartphone wherever they are. Go to fox56.com for a high-quality live stream right now.
Here come the undefeated Cougars from Valley View, representing the Lackawanna Football Conference, and they're your undefeated Berwick Bulldogs out of the Wyoming Valley Conference. We're all set for high school football at historic Crispin Field. Nice crowd on hand, and boy, a lot of talk around these two teams that are state ranked. And Paul Grippy now joins us from the sidelines to talk about that. Paul, both teams 2 versus 1 tonight.
Bob, certainly the high-profile game of week number 6 in Pennsylvania high school football, partly because these two played a thrilling district championship in double overtime last year, partly because of the state rankings. Max Preps has Valley View ranked 10th in their class, and Berwick is 5th, whereas PennLive.com actually has Valley View higher at 4 and Berwick at 7. The entire state's watching this game because they know down the road when you get into state playoffs, either of these two teams could be advancing along the way. Now, who's ahead of them in the rankings? Well, the usual suspects, Bishop McDevitt, Emotep, Erie's Cathedral Prep. But in the entire state of only public schools, these are the top-ranked teams. Bob, the entire state, you can say, is watching this one. Biggest game in the state tonight. And yeah, it feels like the good old days when Valley View and Berwick used to knock heads in the old District 2 days. Cougars and Bulldogs, cats and dogs. This is a thriller.
Thank you, Paul. We get 2 versus 1 from the Pennsylvania Football News, so rankings all over the place for these two public schools. There's Frank Sheptock from Berwick. Berwick won the toss. They deferred to the second half. We'll see Valley View's offense on the field. And first, kicking off, Jared Groshik for Berwick. Receive Dylan Hawanitz and Chase Combs, and we're underway in Berwick. Good kick down to the 1. Combs gets knocked about. Valley View starts around the 18-yard line. We'll see Janasa Boone, courtesy of Shorten Holmes. First season under center. Throws for 425 yards, 5 touchdowns, Stan. Boy, he can do it both ways, on the ground and through the air.
Considering his lack of experience, he's had a very sound year up to this particular point. You can see he's thrown for 50% of his completions, and certainly his yards are impressive.
Boone under the center to begin in typical I formation. Give it a Cornish, and there's that dynamic defense for the Berwick Bulldogs. Here are the rest of the starters for Valley View, courtesy of Toyota. TJ Noto in the backfield. He's run for 83 yards as a sophomore fullback. The receivers, pretty good themselves. Alex Zarkov, 6 catches, 88 yards on the year. And up front, as we talked about in the pregame, everyone is back. Brian Durkin, he's Division I prospect, Division I AA, 6'4", 260 pounds. He's a senior. So about a yard for Cornish on his first carry. Now Boone goes into the shotgun. There's a Boone run for about maybe a yard, maybe no gain either.
Brought down by Berwick's number 44, Joe Lynn. Did a nice job coming up and stopping, taking on that ISO play. Right in there, good form tackle.
Valley View's offense averaging about 356 yards per game, 31 points per game. They've only been intercepted twice and only have 1 fumble on the year. So the turnover differential +8 for the Cougars. Third and long out of the way for the junior quarterback. Low snap. Good protection, nice hit. A nice catch over the middle.
That was number 7 laying the wood on that Valley View receiver. That was a great ball, great catch.
That was Zach Kowalczyk who made the great catch. Great concentration.
So Kowalczyk, the sophomore, with the catch, but here comes the punt team. Tegan Wilk back to receive. Kowalczyk with the kick and picked up, and a good stop down there from number 10, Consaretti. So Berwick comes out with their quarterbacks. Alex Force, he's a senior, 452 yards, 6 touchdowns, Jan, and boy, he's a pretty good quarterback who played last year a little bit.
And again, with the way that Coach Sheptock and the Bulldogs have that one-back offense going in there, he does a real nice job with the spread and getting that ball out when he has to.
So here comes this offense for Berwick, averaging 36 points per game. They like to run the ball, 239 yards, although last week Selinsgrove took that away. And Alex Force had to put the ball in the air 18 times. Flag comes in. This is Owen Shoemaker down the sidelines. Pushed out of bounds after a big game, but this one may be coming back. Flag was thrown quickly downfield.
Owen Shoemaker shows very, very excellent speed on this. He found a little bit of a seam. There could have been a hold.
Chuck Suppan is our referee.
Holding right here.
So there's a holding on the Dogs. Frank Sheptock making his case with the referee down around the 35.
On this play, you'll see that Shoemaker's got great vision right there. You can see that's the hold that they're talking right there. And he just hits that hole, and then he just goes.
Well, the positive is they got the run. The negative is they're going to be pushed back. They started with good field position just past the 36. This will back them up to the 24.
One of the things that we've said is that penalties can have a big effect on the play of this game.
And that was one of Coach Sheptock's keys to the game this evening.
Again, Shoemaker trying to get him some space. They do. Gets near the original line of scrimmage, so give him 10 yards. And let's check out the Dogs' offense, courtesy of Toyota. Dallas Schechterly is the fullback. He just has one carry on the year. He's a junior. Their wide receivers, pretty good themselves. We'll talk about him. 131 yards. He's the leading receiver, 13 catches. And up front, Jan talked about, they're young, but they're pretty big. Cashman has...
Well, they're all juniors. 254-pound Cashman. I mean, he's centering that inside, making those calls, and they come with an ISO right up the middle.
Two big plays give him 10 yards. First down, Berwick.
Alex Forrest is a dual threat. He can throw the ball effectively, and you can see on that particular zone read, he kept it for a good 10 yards.
Stan, last week the Seals of Selinsgrove shut down the running game of Berwick. They had to throw more. What are you seeing from Valley View early on?
They're getting blocked at the point of attack. That's the first thing.
Here's the pitch to Will. Good. He's going to throw it.
Yeah, two men wide open.
Yep.
He was in the grasp of Duplessis, and heady play to get rid of that.
It was, and Valley View is going to have to take note of that play action on the part of the running back.
Valley View has ended up there declaring that it looks like they're playing a man coverage.
No huddle from the Dogs. Five-man rush.
Jump on that now.
Shoemaker overthrown.
Is it a pass or
was it a lateral? That's a question. The referees say no, right? They're backing him up. Nope, incomplete pass, third down and long now for the Dogs. The defense now for the Cougars stepping up.
Force has to relax back there, and again, I'm sure that adrenaline's really flowing really fast for both these teams, but at the quarterback spot, he's got to stay cool, calm, and collected back there.
Valley View's defense pretty good themselves, just giving up 10 points per game the first 5 games themselves. Get it out to flat, good catch, and even a better stop, Blake Maurer on the catch.
That was Jaden Duplessis that made that one-on-one tackle.
For a loss, that tremendous job, boy. The Valley View Cougars, they on the runs, they gave up some plays, but boy, they really started to settle in and started playing some great football.
You just hate those penalties. It really negated a tremendous run by Owen Shoemaker.
Sharkowski on for his 10th punt of the season, averaging 35 yards. Low line drive kick, and it's picked up and returned by Zavkov, and we'll take a timeout. 7:52 left in the first. We're back at Chris Whitfield. Valley View has the ball. We have time to show that replay. Big pass play.
The Cougars showed they had a little trickery in there with that quarterback flea flicker play.
37 yards. Boone to Duplessis. There you see the pass and catch. So back to the field. Great stop and shooting in.
It was Blaine Cleaver, number 9, 6'2", 192-pound sophomore.
He's been one of their effective linebackers all through the course of the first 5 games.
Coach Sheptock really likes him for a young man. As a sophomore, he really does bring some composure to that defense along with the tenacity.
So back to the 40 it goes. This is a tough defense, Jan. Everyone that's played Berwick so far knows this defense only gives up 167 yards per game.
That defensive line is their anchor, and if you look right now, they have that 6-man front coming at them.
Getting blocks, Boone to the outside. Boone with running room. Gets a block. Inside the 10 for the Janasa Boone.
That's the dimension that the Cougars have, that the teams have to be very wary of. If he gets to that corner, he's got great speed. And here you'll see he gets to that corner, and he just outruns Berwick's edge player.
He does a tremendous job. Look at that running in there, Coach. I mean, he just, boom, ball control, security, and he did. He hit that edge, and he creased the dogs pretty good. First and goal.
He could be that X factor tonight. The running of Janasa Boone, 32 yards. First and goal from inside the Manuka red zone. That time the dog defense ready. Great stop in the middle by Montez, number 42.
Eric Montez on the tackle, along with J.J. Snyder and Ben Peck inside.
So Valley View making changes inside the Manuka Subaru red zone. And we have a late flag, and I think Frank Sheptock.
Sideline warning.
Sideline warning on the Bulldogs.
The intensity here, you can feel it in the air. It's on the benches, it's on the field, it's among the coaches.
Maybe Frank came out a little bit too far. His third season here with the Bulldogs, replacing the late George Curry. Here come the Cougars. Six-man front full of the Bulldogs. Here they come. Boone wanted to throw and did throw, and Duplessis caught it. Nice catch by the senior to the 1.
And Boone steps up. There's pressure right in his face, and he laced that ball right in there. Tremendous job. Concentration
Jade
from
Duplessis
the
made a great catch.
He
great
did.
concentration. That ball was wobbling as it came to him.
Valley View went up to the line, plenty of time on the play clock, getting the play from the sidelines. Third and goal from the 1. Cornish walks in, touchdown, Cougars.
Nathan Cordes off the right side for a Valley View touchdown.
Bob, that play that brought the Cougars down into Berwick territory sent a message that if the Bulldogs are going to stack the line of scrimmage with 6 and 7 people, they better be very careful.
The Cougars came out in a power I set right here, and they run that power, and there he goes, really untouched. And Stan, that's a great point. You put in 6, 7 guys in the box, the middle of the field gets soft, and the perimeter, again, they have to respect the receiver, and then Boone just adds that X factor, like Bob said.
Ducati the extra point. 7 plays, 73-yard drive for Valley View, and they have a 7-0 lead.
Watch Brian Durkin.
Back to Crispin Field. The Cougars have a 7-0 lead. Gotti to kick it. His nice leg usually kicks it near the end zone, and he does. Mason had the ball. Special teams playing pretty well for both teams up past the 26-yard line.
On the kickoff return. Tackled by a host of Valley View
Here's the
Cougars.
Cougar defense coming up. They have 9 sacks on the season. Up front, there's Rosina, 10 tackles on the season. Linebackers pretty good themselves. Ryan Turlip in the middle, 7 tackles against West Scranton this season, and the secondary will be tested. There's Duplessis, 14 tackles, leads the team in interceptions with 2. So here come the Bulldogs back out, trailing at home, 7-0. Right through the middle, good carry. Mason, just a freshman.
The offensive line did a nice job with the steps in here and how fast that fullback came right up through.
Nice gain on first down, now trips to the near side. Force trying to quick hitter on the opposite side, and trying to make the catch was Maurer. Didn't come up with it.
Just let them a little bit too much on that. They had good protection. The trips formation forced Valley View now to cover the field. And we knew Berwick and Valley View, they knew this was going to be a tough game. So, you know, they're settling in now, and it's just going to be a great boxing match.
Try to do a quick hitter again to Shoemaker. Nowhere to go. The Cougar defense stand comes up big again.
That was a great play by the defensive end. That was Kyler Rosina.
He came in, it looked like he was untouched, Coach.
Yeah, he certainly was. That's what you have to do when you're untouched.
And you got
lay the wood on him.
And you got 3 other Cougars that are coming in. Again, we talk about getting your hat to the ball, getting that picture, and the Valley View's doing it.
Well, there were questions coming in about the Bulldogs' offensive line being so young but talented, Jan. And so right now, Valley View's taking a little bit of advantage of that, doing a nice job.
Well, again, and I think that there's a little bit of the adrenaline has been flowing, and I think they'll settle down. They match up pretty well. I would say
the Cougar family has each other's backs on the field, but who will have their backs off the field? The Rose Insurance Agency will. We are located at 200 Betty Street in Einan. We will protect your home, auto, business, and life insurance needs. We offer competitive pricing and new discounts. Rate lock, new auto security, and paid in full discounts for auto. For unexpected breakdowns at your home, we offer equipment breakdown and service line protection coverages that are worth talking about, and sewer and drain backup coverage. Let's talk. Call Carolyn Rose.
Boone airs it out, trying to hit Kovalchik down there, just overthrown, and boy, what an arm, though, Janasa has.
He's so athletic. That drive that led to their touchdown, Berwick is going to have to contend with his dual ability to be productive, both with his arm and with his legs.
Valley View's offensive line showed their veteran experience on that, especially against this Bulldog front. They gave Janessa Boone time to throw that ball out there.
Bulldogs coming in with 18 sacks on the year, 6 interceptions. So far, the Cougars' offensive line has been up to the task. Cornish with a spin. Wilk trying to get him. Shoves him out of bounds, but a gain of 20.
As we said in our pregame, this young man is very difficult to bring down. He's very elusive. He has an ability to kind of contort his body so that the defenders don't get a good shot on there. You can see a great spin move. There's momentum on the part of the Cougars at this particular point.
Absolutely. Cougars not intimidated by Crispin Field. Boone gets a block to the outside, and 10 more yards for Janasa Boone, make it 9.
They faked that toss play on that. And Berwick's defense started to go flow with it. And again, Janessa Boone.
You see that Berwick is stacking the line of scrimmage, and if they don't get to that perimeter, Boone is really going to hurt them. I spoke with Coach Wasilchak, who calls the offensive plays for Coach Wanitz, and he said he was going to try to keep the Bulldogs off balance, mixing up run and pass.
And number 62, E.J. Alco, did a nice job pulling and leading for his quarterback.
Not on the same page. This will cost Valley View 5 on second down. So Valley View coming in with a win over Honesdale, their toughest game of the season. Really, it was against a very good Scranton Prep team. They won at their home field 27-15, but for the most part, they really have had not much difficulty this season against any team. So far, so good for Valley View. Cordish get another block to the outside by Durkin. First down, Valley View.
Boy, Brian Durkin did a nice job with his first 2 steps. He just set up, and he had that steel rod that we talk about as an offensive lineman up there, and he just controlled the defensive end.
He has been playing hurt. He injured his knee in the preseason. He's only been going one way, playing right offensive tackle, where last year he was a stalwart on the defensive line for the Cougars.
Wilk had to come over from his safety spot to make the tackle. Cougars on the move again. Boone, a 3-step drop fade into the end zone. No flags down. Almost caught by Kovalchik. Good defense out there.
Valley View is going to take their shots downfield. Berwick was in a man coverage that time. Kovalchik got beyond the cornerback, number 14, and just didn't catch the football. But this is going to keep the Bulldog defense off kilter.
Number 14, Naquan Smith, was the man that they were picking on that play. And I think they're going to just keep isolating him, putting him on that island.
Some big linemen downfield for Boone. A flag comes in. This may be holding against the Cougars if they're at a gain of 6. Let's check out what the flag is.
14, penalty flag on the flag.
You see the call.
On that play, it was thrown against number 8, TJ Nato. He just comes out and he just grabs him right there.
Little
sell job on that.
Bit of acting.
Yeah, a little acting.
Play.
It goes
The Oscars are coming out soon, I believe.
But hey, he got the flag. That's all he needs to do. So this will back them up to the 29-yard line, bring up a 2nd and long. Cougars stand doing a nice job mixing it up as you talked about. What will they do now, you think?
Don't be surprised to see a screen pass.
Berwick there to get Boone. Gain of 1.
Brought down by number 10, Ryan Lawbaugh.
Here are the Cam Graphic Impact players watching for Valley View tonight. We haven't talked about Trayon Jones too much at a linebacker. Duffy's in there at defensive end, and Schnippis is the left tackle.
3rd and 16 at the 29.
Another flag down. Let's check out the call again. Personal foul against the Bulldogs. This flag was thrown in the secondary. I don't know. Let's see what Frank Sheptock hears from the referee. Here's the call from Chuck Supine.
Looks like number 19, Peyton Williams, was the culprit on that.
So this will give them a 3rd and 1, the Cougars. The ball now inside the 15, inside the Manuka Subaru red zone. I'm not sure what the penalty was, but it was definitely in the secondary.
Where it was thrown, there must have been some talking, and you know, I know Coach Sheptock will not tolerate any of that kind of shenanigans out there.
Cordish gonna be short. Good job on the inside from Valley View. Joe Lynn, the senior, number 44, gets off from the bottom.
It's going to be hard for Valley View to run that power play. There's so many people at the line of scrimmage there.
Their success so far has been out to the outside.
There's no question. And until the Bulldogs come up with a solution to that, they're going to go back to those plays, whether it's with Janasa Boone or whether it's with Mason Cordish.
Coach Awanet's going to go for it. 4th and 1. Boone with the keeper. Let's see where the placement is. That's going to determine if he got it or not. Running behind Connor Judge, the 230-pound senior.
First down.
First down. So the drive continues. This drive started at the 42.
Right in there. Look at that surge from the offensive line. Their pad level was underneath the defensive lines, and they moved them down for that 3 yards. And Janessa Boone put his head down and just got that first.
This is really what we were expecting to see. We knew the experience of the offensive line for Valley View, Coach, and the way the defense has been playing for Berwick. It's been one of the best in the state. There's Cornish. Flag comes in again. Ryan Laubach on the stop. Let's check out the flag thrown by Chuck Suppan. It's going to go against the Cougars, and it's a holding call.
Again, whether that's a hold or not, it's hard to tell from our angle, but we don't want to see penalties in this game. We don't want the officials to take the boys out of the game. There's that old understanding that there's holding on every play.
And then on that play, there was a nice ISO run by Valley View. And that running back, I'll tell you, he's got great vision, Stan. There was nothing there. He bounced it right to the outside.
Well, he's got great DNA. He's related to the Castellanis who played at Valley View, Randy and other Castellanis. So it's not strange that he's a good football player. There's something to be said for DNA.
So the ball back to the 28-yard line. We're under 20 seconds to play in the first quarter. Boone, plenty of time, over the middle. Finds a receiver, touchdown, Valley View. It's a Manuka Subaru score. That's Dylan Hawanitz.
The flag comes in.
Another yellow hanky on the turf. That maybe after the score, though.
And it looks like on this play, number 44, Joe Lynn was, I think he thought he had help deep, and he dropped to his middle hook, but there was nothing there. And number 3, big play, big catch, nice touchdown.
You watch the pocket that's created by the offensive line here. Janessa just stood in there and waited for Dylan to get open and threw a perfect spiral.
And this is a Berwick defense that came in with 18 sacks on the year. Here's the call from Chuck Suppan.
Must have been after the score.
Unsportsmanlike.
That'll be assessed on the kickoff.
So probably over celebration, something like that the officials just don't want to see at this point.
Well, again, I'm going to make a statement about this. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. This is a passionate game. Kids are fired up. Unless they're doing something to embarrass the other team, throwing a flag and something like that, whether it's Berwick or whether it's Valley View, to me is ridiculous.
That is. Again, there's a lot of excitement in this game.
They're not robots. If they take a little lesson from the NFL, realize that it's not only a sport, but it's an entertainment thing. And we saw one of the videos earlier this week where a player was running down. He had a clear touchdown, and he lifted his forefinger, and they flagged him and took the touchdown away.
Let's see the big play again. Coach, break
there
it down.
Is. Look at the protection. It all starts with the protection. Dylan is wide open, catches the ball in his fingers like he's been taught.
And I saw Coach Sheptock pull the small whiteboard off to tell number 9, look, that was your guy. That was your zone.
The Bring Us On Society is also sponsoring a Columbus Day all-you-can-eat.
Clarkie's Billiards has a new location, now on Providence Road in Scranton, across from Memorial Stadium. Clarkie's is open 7 days a week and offers free pool lessons from the area's premier billiards professional, Kevin Clark. Enjoy a family-friendly atmosphere and free pooling, free pool cue, and free music on Fridays. Clarkie's Billiards, 850 Providence Road, Scranton.
So 10 seconds left. Valley View's come into Crispin Field again. They lead 14-0.
Bob, one of the things that Janessa Boone did in that time is he looked off. He looked to his left and drew a little bit of movement on the part of the secondary, and then he came back to Dylan Hawanitz in the seam on the right.
Giaccotti gonna squib the ball down. Mason fumbled it, picks it up. Valley View wants a fumble. They say no. Nice stop down there by Conseret again on special teams.
Cam Graphics is your #1 source in NEPA for screen print, embroidery, printing, and more. High quality and customer service is our specialty. For a free consultation and quote, contact us today or check us out on Facebook.
Recapping the Valley View drive, it was 9 plays, 58 yards, 4 flags thrown on that. So they had to overcome 3 of those, did the Cougars. And they lead now 14-0, 4 seconds left. Berwick trailing for the first time this season. This should get something back. The freshman inside Cougar territory to end the first quarter. The Bulldogs trying to get some momentum back. The Cougars seem to have what they need. 14-0 after 1, Valley View.
You're watching Friday Night Rivals on MyTV WQNY.
Oh, welcome back everyone to Berwick, Crispin Field. Crowd on their feet here for both sides. The most anticipated game in the state. 2 versus 1, and so far it's number 2 who's owned number 1. Berwick with the ball, trying to stretch them out. This is Shoemaker. Berwick's run only 9 plays in that first quarter. That first quarter dominated by the Cougars.
Certainly was. And the Cougars did it, but now Berwick comes back with an option look. There's number 60, Sullivan Slavinsky leading the way for number 39, Owen Shoemaker. And Owen just ran to someone down. He just lowered that shoulder.
Bulldogs doing it on the ground the last 2 plays. First time we see Tegan Wilk with the ball. All-Stater. Stopped by Rosina. A little push after the end. Flag comes in.
Well, Coach, we know that both sides are going to be
just be on the alert for that.
And
All right, thanks.
The emotions. And again, I know both coaches, and we know we talk about that mental game, and they've got to just keep their composure. On that last play, you can see big number 79, Noah Craig, 6 foot, 256 pounder, leading the way out there for Tegan Wilk for a short gain, or first down, excuse me.
And really, Coach, in a game like this, you really have to control yourself. It's tough for young kids.
And listen, you have to give credit to the officials. They want to keep the game under control. They don't want this to turn into a brawl. Valley View is going to have to shore up the interior of their defense. I think that's the one thing that's hurt them so far. Run straight out off the A and B gaps, and now they're in the spread and running some trick plays.
So that play at the end of the first quarter by Aiden Mason, a freshman, giving a little spark to the Bulldogs as they have it inside the Manuka Subaru red zone. The quarterback with running room, force inside the 5, knocked out of bounds.
Another flag. And I think that there was a hold on this.
They go
right here, you can
right
see there you can see 67's being held.
He got beat to the inside, and he latched on with his inside hand. And the way Berwick had that play set up with the fake toss and the bootleg left just negates how hard that Alex just ran that ball down there.
Kevin Duffy was held on that play.
So this will back the Dogs up all the way from the 2 to the 27-yard line, and it's first down and 10. They can't get a first down at the 1. Inside the freshman again. Good yardage. Pick up about 10.
The Bulldogs have taken Owen Shoemaker and put him in a slot and running him in motion because he's a threat and he's got great speed. And again, as I said just a moment ago, Valley View's interior defense is going to have to shore up because they're constantly giving up big yardage on these straight dives or reads, whatever they are.
And that inside play on that last one, the center, Connor Judge, really there was no one on him, and he led down to that second level.
Three-man front for the Cougars. Here comes the pressure from behind.
Number 2.
That's Boone, who catches his counterpart on the other side, Force. And it's a loss of 1.
It's not often that you see a quarterback playing in a defensive end position. He's such an athlete.
But Boone played a lot of defense, though, last year when we saw him.
But in the secondary.
In the secondary, yes. So right at the Manuka Subaru's red zone, it's 3rd and long. And I believe Frank Sheptock will take his first time out at the 10:03 mark. So this is the 9th time these two teams have met. First time in the regular season. Berwick leads the series 5-4.
Santarelli Oil would like to congratulate the entire Valley View cheerleading and football team. Santarelli Oil also wants to remind you we have the guaranteed lowest prices and will beat any competition.
Here are your Cam Graphics impact players for the Bulldogs. Tegan Wilk, an all-stater. Montez, we've seen him from the defensive end. And Saluco trying to protect that right side of the line for the Bulldogs. There are your Cam Graphics impact players for tonight's game. So after the timeout, the Dogs back on the field with 3rd and 19, looking them straight in the face.
This may be 2-down territory.
Here goes Rusty outside. Force still at his feet. Finally, Jones gets him for the sack.
Wow, credit Valley View's defensive line on
Duplessis
that.
was there.
Wow.
Connor Judge was there.
And the way that Valley View, they were playing that trap defense. They still went two on the receivers and 1 deep. So they really shut down. And you almost could say it was a coverage sack, but the way that defensive front was coming, he had no place to go.
Kevin Duffy there as well. So on 4th down, the Berwick's going to go for it. Let's see if there's a pooch punt. Force back. Here comes the rush again. Force looking downfield. Goes over the middle, and they're going to say it's a catch.
Still short.
But it's well short of the first down as the catch is made by Sharkuski. But that 4th down play will go and give the ball over to Valley View.
In speaking to Coach Iwanitz during the week, one of the things that he emphasized that they were going to try to keep Force inside the tackle boxes as much as they possibly could. Now, they let him escape that time, the time before they were able to sack him. Berwick hasn't been in this situation in a while where they're down 2 scores in the second quarter.
No, not all season long. I mean, Berwick started out with a 42-0 win over Abington. Their closest game was really last week against Selinsgrove. They won that 21-7. But in that game, they committed multiple turnovers. As a big run from Cordish for 11.
The offensive front of Valley View, they're getting off the football. They're getting into the Bulldog down people, creating some seams.
And that strong safety for Berwick, Ryan Lawbach, he's the one that had to make that tackle. And when your secondary's making tackles,
it's not good.
Not good.
So that offensive line dominating the defensive front from Berwick.
First and 10, kept at the 28-yard line of Valley View.
Berwick did give up 24 points this year to Valley West. They finished them off 40-24. So Valley View really doing a job here with 8:30 left in the first half.
Speaking of the Valley West game, Coach Sheptock firmly believes that his team is a second half team, and they made some nice adjustments, and obviously that's when all the points came out. And I'm sure he'll be doing the same thing at halftime this week.
Here's Coach George Hawanitz's 12th season already at Valley View. He quarterbacked them to a state title back in the 90s. There's the dog defense taking care of business.
That's a play Valley View runs just to keep people inside honest. It's just a quick trap. And it's been very successful for them in their previous games. You'll see it right there. The trap is certainly effective.
Joe Lynn with the stop. He's a senior.
And then Berwick has moved Josiah Snyder from nose tackle out to defensive end.
Let's see if they try to get Boone to the outside. Here comes pressure from the outside, and they get him. He falls forward for a yard gain, but fourth down on the way.
There's a little poise that Janessa Boone showed that time. He felt the pressure coming, and rather than try to make something out of nothing, he went forward for a yard or two, and they're going to punt. Watch it here.
Berwick brought both outside linebackers in their scheme and pinned him in, and they dropped him for the loss.
That's something that the Cougars are going to have to anticipate. Third and medium, they're going to have to look for that type of thing. There's people coming off the edges.
Ryan Laubach with the stop. So Kovalchik in for the punt. Nice high kick. Wilk likes to take a bounce, and they'll clear this one out, and it will take a Valley View roll. Inside the 20, and the Bulldogs trailing by 14 will have it at the 17.
The Cougars appreciate the talent that Tegan Wilk has. Certainly in their kick game, they're going to try to kick the ball away from him so that he doesn't have big plays. He's a very talented young man, got great vision and speed.
Yard punt by Valley View. Berwick will be first and 10 at their 18-yard line.
Covering the news that matters to you most every night at 10 o'clock. The Fox 56 News First at 10. John, Ryan, Jamie, and Mike tonight at 10.
The defense gets the ball back for the Berwick offense. Can they put a drive together late in this half? Start out with a Shoemaker run. He's tough to take down. That's 12, maybe 13 for Owen Shoemaker.
He has to be gang tackled. 2 or 3 Valley View defenders had him up around the shoulder
Watch how
pads.
they fold block on that stand.
Right.
The center, just all they do is they step and fold.
Here they go. They tackle him high. He just keeps those big legs churning and picks up another 3 or 4 yards.
And you said that earlier, Coach, that both these running backs have similar style. They keep the legs, heads down. They're going to hit you before you can hit them.
Shoemaker again, a little quick hitter, maybe a yard at best.
That's a play that has to be stopped if Valley View wants to be successful defensively.
Well, you talk, Coach. We talk a lot in the car on the ride down. It's tough for a high school team to go drive 82 yards.
It is, without penalties, turnovers, or whatever the case might be. To make 80 yards and not make mistakes without big plays, not easy.
Well, that's what Berwick is facing right now if they want to get something back before the half. Giving up 2 touchdowns to the Cougars and 2 long drives. Shoemaker can't take him down easily into the secondary, up for a first down.
There it is again.
And that's what, Coach, you said that. This was stopped. The Cougars had him stopped, but the determination and the drive of this young man, he just hits, spins, and look at the ball control. He knows he's going to his left. He puts it in the left hand.
See him drop his hips there. Everything is down close to the ground. And he's not tall, so he's tough to tackle that way.
C&O Furniture, key to the game. Line of scrimmage play on both sides. There you saw what the Berwick offense can do. We've seen what the Valley View offense can do on from the offensive line.
The one thing you want to teach your tacklers in a situation when Owen has the ball is somebody get around his ankles. If you get around his ankles and hold tight and hope that the troops are coming, you got a chance to limit his effectiveness.
Wilk gets the sidelines and he puts his head down out of bounds inside Cougar territory at the 43.
Key to this play was watch if we see the replay, watch out here. We get that nice block right there from Shoemaker. Turns, gets great body position, and that opened it up for Tegan Will.
Timeout on the field called by the Cougars, and Will can run it. He's got 3 touchdowns on the ground. He's their leading receiver coming in. Of course, he transferred from Southern Columbia a couple years ago, so we know what we got down there. So, you know.
And Stan, you were talking earlier about long drives, and again, statistically, when you start getting 8, 9, and over 10, it actually goes against you on the offense because something is going to happen at that point.
You got to be a seer to know what that is.
So these two teams met first time 1977.
How old were you
11.
then, Bob?
I was 11.
Okay.
I was 2. How about that? So, but Valley View the last couple of years has taken care of business with Berwick. Those tough teams by the Dogs with George Curry down here. Some of the best teams in the state and the country at that time, Stan, took care of business with Valley View. But really, 2 programs that around the state have a great reputation.
They do, and certainly we've seen over the last couple of years, Valley View kind of regained their footing ever since George has been the coach. He replaced the legend in Frank Pizzalia, and they've got it back on track. And Berwick, again, stuttered a little bit when Coach left, and of course his passing, but they're in good hands now with Frank Sheptock. So they're going to be around for a long time.
Yeah, Coach Curry was here, then Coach Campbell came in. Coach Curry went to Valley West, then Coach Curry came back.
Yep. And Coach
lost
Sheptock.
his life, and then Coach Sheptock took over. Trying to get Mason in the middle of the freshmen. It's a nice job, but the defense is right there. Logan Burns with the stop.
Mason's a nice size kid. He's 5'10", 181 according to their program, and to put the burden on the freshman's shoulders like this, he's run the ball pretty well. I like Owen Shoemaker though. he's my kind of running back.
He is. Number 39. Who was who coach?
Larry Zonka.
There we go. Undefeated Miami Dolphins that year.
I think Owen Shoemaker's a little faster than Larry Zonka.
In the Shoemaker again, in a nice push, and it takes 5 Cougars to take down Shoemaker with a gain of 5. Well, that's when you get 201.59. You got strong legs.
Just right. Yep.
He came in with 107 carries, so he's averaging just about 20 carries per game.
And that's a weight room picture right there.
Little flip out to Shakuski. Flag comes in. We have a holding call again. No gain.
I was alluding to the weight room on that last run when we showed that replay. Here he is, low center of gravity, driving his feet, his upper body strength. They're trying to strip the ball.
There's that old cliche in football, low man wins. And certainly as a running back, if you can keep your balance and drop those hips and just keep those legs churning, you're going to be productive.
Any given Friday night here in Berwick, you're going to see a big crowd. And Cougars add on to that with their fan base coming down from northeastern Pennsylvania. A little bit warmer than it was last November, Coach.
It is, thankfully.
But again, you know, this 4A in District 2, probably one of the best in the state competitively, with Dallas, North Pocono in there as well. So this backs up Berwick to midfield.
Probably a motion penalty here.
These are the mental mistakes that really just take the wind out of the sails. And I know Coach Sheptock is probably just fit to be tied, but you really can't chew a kid's backside out on that because you don't want the kids getting down.
The first half tells us that they've came into this game looking to establish their run, and they've done fairly well with it up to a point, but penalties have been really problematic for them.
2 flags in a row for the Bulldogs. Backs them up to their own 45. 3rd and long. Force back, has some time, has a lot of room to run. Court comes up to make the stop. Nice tackle. Give him up to the 42 of the Cougars.
Tremendous job. I mean, good vision, looking. There's again, the secondary has him covered. Watch this form tackle. Comes in, wraps the arms, he rolled his hips, and he's just driving them back.
That's football right there.
Berwick fans didn't like it. Flag coming late as both teams pushing and shoving. And they're going to call it against the Bulldogs. Unsportsmanlike after the play.
So is it going to be fourth down?
It was going to be fourth down. This is after play. It will remain fourth down,
It's
right?
fourth down now,
it's
yes.
after the play, yes. So it backs the ball up again. We're going to check the penalty yards at halftime, but
yeah, and
a lot of flags.
You know Coach Sheptock better than I do, and I'm sure he's not going to be a happy camper in that locker room with these penalties.
Not at all. I mean, that's that mental aspect, and he said that was one of the keys to the game, was to make sure that the kids play with composure. And if that, especially, you get a personal foul if you're running your mouth or you say something inappropriate. There's just no room for that.
Nice high kick, Sharkuski. There's a Valley View player standing there. Luckily, it didn't hit him. Valley View offense back on the field. This Berwick offense, though, Coach, hasn't been only one time they've been inside the red zone.
That, again, Stan, we talked about that earlier. When you have a long field, it makes for a long night. And the way Valley View has been playing offensively, it's making it real tough for Berwick to even get any type of offense going.
Keystone College Experience Open House on Saturday, October 20th. Students and parents register at keystone.edu.
Bob I, Jan Cechak, Stan Kaharski, and Paul Grippy here at Crispin Field. This battle of the top two 4A teams in the state. It's been all Cougars in the first half as Cordish up past the 50, gain of 16 for Mason Cordish.
On that play, number 77, Mike Sebastianelli, thank you. I'm sorry. I apologize, Michael. Did a tremendous job with that lead block, and then the backside, they had that nub tight end coming across. It was almost like a counter trap.
Michael is one of those seniors, and he played as a freshman. When I was coaching, he was a freshman when I was an assistant at Valley View a couple of years ago. Tough kid, nice kid.
This Cougar running game doing a nice job with that big offensive line. Again, Cordish up for 7. 2 timeouts left for Valley View.
And again, Sebastianelli on that one, he steps to his right, opens it up. Look at that hole in there.
We've said all week that this game is going to be determined by which of the lines, the Valley View offensive line or the defensive line of Berwick, is going to really take hold of the turf, the trenches. And up to this particular point, it's been Valley View.
Now, Valley View does have a very good field goal kicker. Cicciotti is 2 for 4. He does have a long field goal this year, 43 yards. Something to keep in mind. Boone back. Gets some pressure and is going to air it out long. It's underthrown and almost caught.
Not almost. I think he caught it.
No, I think it went out of his way. Kovalchik.
He didn't have control.
Yeah, he didn't have control. Goes to the turf.
You watch Boone on this play.
He has people in his face, Coach.
Yeah, he does. And his presence, though, look at him. And he just throws that from his hip.
Ball, yeah.
Right there he had it before Wilk comes over.
Catch it and tuck it. Get your fingers on it and bring it to your armpit.
Tegan Wilk did a nice job breaking his right hand in there to pull that ball out.
1:13 left for the Cougars. Cordish gets the end. A big hit by Wilk over there, but a gain of about 8.
He gets to the
Another
edge.
Flag.
He gets to the edge, and he takes that inside shoulder and gets it square to the line of scrimmage, and he just accelerates.
I don't know. Wilk arguing his case, not sure.
On this play, they were lined up in an unbalanced set, and they just student body left. And look at that. Look at how he gets to the outside.
He reads his blocks very, very well.
Flag there.
The flag came in before the hit.
And then there was one afterwards, too.
So this is going to be maybe multiple infractions on this one. Chuck Suppan out of the Wyoming Valley Conference, the referee tonight. This is a mixed crew, though.
Are the officials paid per flag that they throw? Is that the way their salary schedule?
Okay, there are a lot of flags tonight.
Well, the problem is they'd have to go through the athletic director here at Berwick, which happens to be Coach Sheptok.
Well, break for Berwick as Valley View was on a roll.
Oh,
Okay,
two
so the ball.
penalties.
What we didn't see was that we didn't see the unsportsmanlike call, right, against Berwick. Then there was 2 calls. We saw 2 flags. So he called the first one. They marked that off. Then he called the second one. We did not see that from the referee. So now the ball's at the 32-yard line.
Coach Sheptok is having a conversation with Chuck Suppan in terms of these penalties. He needs to get his kids to calm down.
Again, this is a mixed crew from the Wyoming Valley and Lackawanna Football Conference.
I believe that second flag, the personal foul, I think came, and I saw Tegan Wilk went right up to the official and said, how can you call? It was that one, Stan, you know this from coaching. They go up and say, are you kidding me, Mr. Official? So
1:07 left in the half. Ball at the Dogs 32 now after the penalties. Treon Jones first carry, and shooting right in there is the defensive end, Laubach, the sophomore.
Valley View's going to have to pick up the pace here a little bit. If there's just a little bit more than 50 seconds to go. They have 2 timeouts left, correct, Bob?
Correct. Clock is rolling. Well, they just called timeout.
They let about 8 seconds run off the clock at that point.
Timeout on the field by the Cougars. Again, they have a good field goal kicker. They need probably another about 15 yards or so to be in range of Chakotay.
thank you. Tonight's Friday Night Rivals game is brought to you by the Toyota RAV4. Toyota, let's go places.
Coming up at the half, Paul Grippy will grab the winning coach going off. We'll hear from the Fox 56 News First at 10 crew. And Paul Grippy will have another interview, and then guys up in the booth, including myself, will be back, give you some highlights from that first half and some analysis. That's coming up at the half here on my TV.
Bob, you were talking about the penalties earlier. I'd like to see what the possession is also, because I think Valley View has done a great job of grinding this out, so keeping the ball out of Berwick's hands.
Yeah, they've had long drives each time. They've had it multiple plays. We'll go look at that. 9 plays on their second drive, 7 on their first drive. They had 7 plays. The Cougars. Boone with a lot of running room. Instead, tosses it downfield, finds Duplessis down at the 11.
Get to the line and either spike it.
Well, the chains have to get set, so you know they're in a hurry up.
24-yard gain. And they'll spike it. Here's the...
Valley View only has 1 timeout left.
Well, they're in field goal range, but looking to add on to their 14-point lead are the Cougars.
Yeah, and Berwick gets the ball to start the half, so they would like to try to get another score on this play.
Would you say, Stan, that it's the offensive line of Valley View that's really done the job the first half?
Every time that Mason Cordich has been able to get to the second level, it's because the line has opened up some holes. When he hasn't been, the line hasn't. But for the most part, they've been pretty effective.
And the running of Boone.
Absolutely.
And
that's
throwing.
the dimension.
And throwing.
When you prepare for a game like this, the quarterback generally doesn't carry the ball that much. With Valley View, it's either the tailback or the quarterback.
And Coach Owanitz, I think, is going to call a timeout with the clock stopped. And that will be his last one. And with the ball at the 12 inside the Manuka Subaru red zone.
Well, this is a critical 34 seconds. If they can push this in, it's certainly going to give them a little bit of room.
But on the other side, the Bulldogs need to hold them. They don't want to be trail by 17 or 21. They get the ball to begin the third quarter, does Berwick, Jan, but you know Coach Sheptock, he's not going to be happy about this first half.
No, and I've spent 4 years with him, and I know what he does at halftime. He's going to talk to his coaches to say, get your kids settled down. This is what we're going to do. I'm sure he already has figured out what he wants to attack against Valley View, and they're just going to have to come out and play a little bit more disciplined, a lot more disciplined football because of all the flags.
Well, we talked about District 2 and the 4A standings. Here they are going into tonight. You see Dallas, Berwick, and Valley View all tied. North Pocono trailing all of them by a game. Well, Berwick and Valley View still have to play Dallas, right?
Yes.
Valley View has to play North Pocono and Dallas. So who knows at the end of the season?
It's going to be a long grind for these guys. I mean, to be 5-0 at this point or 4-1, like North Pocono is, that's tremendous for those programs.
As you progress through the season, you want your team to get better. And when you have a good challenge every week, they have to get better in order for them to keep performing at a level that's going to result in victories.
That 4A playoffs will be an 18 field. 3 weeks of playoffs in 4A District 2. No timeouts left for the Cougars now. Have to get the ball to the outside. They're going to, little trickery, back to Boone. Can they get him? Boone in. Touchdown Valley View on the halfback pass, 12 yards.
I think everybody's taking a play out of Doug Peterson's playbook. It looked like a little Philly special there.
Yeah, Manuka Subaru touchdown for Janasa Boone, who's had a hand in almost every one for Valley View.
Go with the toss.
And he gets whacked a little bit at the line of scrimmage and is able to catch it with his athleticism. He avoids Tegan Wilk.
And that's Kudrich who threw the ball. Give props to him.
Well, he was a very promising quarterback as a freshman and didn't play for, I think, the last 2 years. He's a basketball player. So he came back out, and he's happy to be part of the team. And he's a pretty good receiver from everything I've been told.
Well, he throw the ball pretty well, too. Picks up a touchdown.
Well, he was a big kid when he was in 8th grade, and they thought he's going to be Valley View's next big quarterback.
Oh, guess what? Another flag. Kick was good.
It was good?
Yeah, it was good. 25 seconds left. Flag came in. Dogs fans silent here on this side of the field. Their team right now trailing by 20.
Personal foul, running into the center, right here on the defense.
He can't hit the center.
Can't hit the center. Thank you, Coach. So let's see it again. Oh, this is the touchdown.
They had Berwick flowing really fast on that toss. Janessa Boone just slipped right out.
And Kudrich got himself in a good position here to just throw a nice soft pass, not try to do anything special with it, just get it to your receiver.
What do you think, Coach? 1 for 1 and 1 touchdown. That's a good night for.
You quit. Your rating is 1,000.
If you get a hole-in-one in golf, I hear that. You just stop playing. So.
Well, another long drive. This was 9 plays, 63 yards.
And how much time they
took? 2
took?
Flags. There was 2:25 on the clock. Exactly, almost 2 minutes off the clock.
I don't think we anticipated this type of score at halftime. Whether it would be Valley View ahead or whether it would be Berwick ahead.
Well, all the chatter coming in was about the Berwick defense. 18 sacks coming in, 3 forced fumbles, 6 interceptions.
Ironically, the first series that Valley View had the ball, they did nothing whatsoever. But after that, they've been very dominant.
It was a 3 and out. They had 3 and out on a long field.
This kick should go out of the end zone.
It might go over the stadium. Chakati has it on the dog side of the ball. He's got a great kick. It may go through the uprights. This one's going to come to the 20. 25 seconds left. 2 timeouts left for Berwick. Coach Sheptock probably going to say, get in and get to to make the adjustments. They do get the second half kick. But I don't think anyone, as you mentioned, Coach, saw this coming from Valley View. We knew they were good. Now I think we're seeing just how good that offensive line is, and really that's been the difference.
Again, as a coach, when I first started, I learned a very, very important lesson. Those guys that wear the 50s to the 79s are the heart of your team. When I was the head coach at the schools that I coached at, I used to call them my skill kids because they needed more skill than a guy like me split out and catching a football. We're going to see.
Coach hasn't seen a line like this since they played in the MAC. I mean, seriously, you're looking at some big kids up front for Valley View. This should run them out. And Berwick will trail at halftime.
Gain of 1.
A lot of confidence on this Cougar squad from his coach, George Hawanitz. They've won here before, and they're going to take a halftime lead in the first meeting of the regular season between Valley View and Berwick. Valley View leads 21-0. Paul Grippy going to try to grab Coach Hawanitz, and he has him right now. Let's go down to Paul.
Okay, halftime. I'm with Valley View coach George Hawanitz. Coach, what did you like about the way your team played in that first half?
I just thought we played real physical. We played with a lot of energy, and we made some big plays we needed to. We got some big plays on offense, and our defense kept them out of the end zone. You could say that. You could do that to them in a half. We're happy.
And talk about big plays. Boone scoring the touchdown late in this half here. What made you call that play at that time?
Our kids work hard all week. We worked on it all week, and we thought we'd get it. And thank you, Philadelphia Eagles.
That's right. The Philly special. All right, thanks a lot, Coach. Valley View up by 21 at the half.
And don't forget about the Cleveland Browns, too. They did it in their first win in like 2 years. So a little bit of a stunner here, but Valley View is putting it on the Berwick Bulldogs. They lead 21-0. Paul Grippy will be back at halftime, and then the three of us will break this down. What do we call this? The Cougar Classic or something? The Cougar Special. Valley View up at halftime.
Friday Night Rivals is brought to you by Toyota Let's Go Places, Luzerne County Community College, Keystone College, Manuka Subaru, Shorten Homes, and Sylvester Chevrolet.
Halftime at Crispin Field has Valley View leading Berwick 21-0. Bit of a surprising first half. Well, joining me now, a man walking down memory lane tonight, Valley View graduate class of '93, Steve Pratico. Steve, thanks for joining us for a minute or two here. You played on some of those great Valley View teams, the state champions. You also played against Berwick. What's it like when you come back, stand on the sidelines, see the old colors, and hang out with the team?
It's a lot of fun. I played with George Hawanitz in the early '90s, and coming back, seeing those guys, George and Mike Szymanski, Corey Castellani, who I played with, a whole bunch of really good guys and really good football players. And it's fun to hear what they impart to the young guys who are playing now, teaching them the same set of core values that we learned from Coach Pizzalia when we played 25 years ago.
Yeah. Valley View really is a program that passes down tradition from generation to generation. A few kids on the team now, their fathers played for the Valley View Cougars. Well, that state championship season and really back in your high school day, you played teams like Berwick. Oftentimes, Valley View was very high profile on the state scene. Now, some years Valley View is, some year isn't. What was it like to be part of the Valley View program back then, knowing that everybody every year was coming after you?
It was exciting. It really was. You had a feeling of responsibility to the coaching staff, to your teammates, to your community, to your school. It was important to us that we perform well because it was important to so many other people. I think that made us work hard. I think that gave us some focus, and we were proud of ourselves when we produced.
Yeah. And what was it like playing Berwick back then, or maybe compared to now? I mean, back then you had the legendary coaches, Frank Pizzalia, George Curry. But when you played Berwick, what did it mean?
It meant a lot. It was two very high-profile teams in the state, as it still is, but back then it was really a focal point. I think the absolute world of Coach Pizzalia. I think a lot of Coach Curry. I got to know Coach Curry a little bit when I was in high school. In fact, Coach Curry put me on the Big 33 team after my senior year, which I was always grateful to him for doing. And of course, Berwick had great players back then, some guys like Ron Powlis and the Orlando brothers and others. So there were a lot of us. We were all tough, good football players. We had great football coaches, and it was a big show when we got together and played.
What did you think of your team here in the first half?
I'm delighted. I don't want to be too much of a coach, which I'm not. I always see things that I want to see improved, but when you're up 21-0 and you're playing at Crispin Field, it's a good first half.
So you went on to play football at Rutgers and Bucknell, and now you live in Florida, practice law, but you're even still involved with football as a member of the committee for the Outback Bowl in Tampa, which should be pretty exciting. Well, how do you feel your role with that?
Well, I've been involved with the Outback Bowl for about 17 years now. I've been the chairman of the bowl. I continue to be a member of the board of directors. I've actively been involved with the team selection process for about the past 10 years. The Outback Bowl, the participants come from the Big Ten and SEC, so it's really a premier showcase every year, and we're real proud of what we've got in the Tampa Bay area, and we're real proud of the product we put on the field at the Outback Bowl.
So you're still involved with football, and George still involved with football. Other guys you played with, that football really never leaves you, does it?
It absolutely never leaves you, not when you played at Valley View.
Man, those were great teams, great days, and a great time. Steve, thanks for joining us for a few minutes. And,
You're welcome.
Welcome back. Good to have you visit up from Florida. And we'll be back with more halftime right after this.
We are back at Crispin Field. Valley View up 21-0. And now Paul Grippy has Coach Sheptock.
Okay, here we're ready to start the second half. I have Berwick's Coach Sheptock. And Coach, Valley View moved the ball pretty well on your defense in the first half. What would you adjust to stop the Cougars?
Well, I think first of all we got to do a better job on the line of scrimmage. I mean, they're doing a great job pushing the football. Obviously 34 is making some nice cuts. I mean, that's who they are. I think they're running the ball extremely well. And then I also think that like every time that we get a little bit of momentum, you know, we're hurting ourselves a little bit. So we got to do a little bit better job with our poise and play. And, you know, we got to play a little bit more discipline on the defensive side of the ball.
So a hole that your team isn't used to being in here, down by 21. What do you tell them to motivate them and get back into this?
Well, I tell you, that's why when you're going through the season, you go through a lot of circumstances. You learn from each one. We're going to see how we can respond to, you know, being down 21-0. I mean, they have a lot of momentum right now. But we've got a team with a lot of heart, a lot of resiliency, and you're going to see a great effort this second half.
Okay, thanks a lot, Coach. Good luck. In a few minutes, we'll start the second half. You don't see Berwick down 21-0 too often at halftime.
Especially here at Crispin Field. So before we dive into some analysis, let's check out the first half highlights, guys. Valley View with some nice drives early on, and with a lot of the work from Janessa Boone through the air and on the ground.
And that was a heck of a hit, a great pass by Janessa, great reception, and again, they come right back.
You have to appreciate his presence, whether it's as a drop back passer or if he's in the gun. He manages to get some passes off where he's really under a tremendous amount of pressure, and he's able to deliver the ball with enough velocity to get it to a potential receiver.
And then you were watching Berwick with the freshman running back getting in there. Janessa Boone coming back again.
There you see that great pocket presence and great blocking by the part of the offensive line.
Well, Berwick tried to do some damage on the ground. This is one of their bigger plays of the half. That is the freshman Mason.
Yeah,
but the defense held.
And there's Tegan Wilk on the carry and around.
Berwick only had the ball inside the 20 of Valley View one time. And there we saw Owen Shoemaker had a nice first half, 8 carries, 55 yards. Berwick held him, Valley View held him in check. And here Boone again with his legs and arm.
He has a great presence. Stan, you said that he is a very good basketball player, but he wrestles.
From what I've been told,
he's a receiver now.
Somebody told me earlier in the week that he's the best basketball player in the school, but he wrestles.
and we have found, Stan, from coaching all these years, when you can get a football player that wrestles and a wrestler that will play football, that translates so well into both sports.
It does. It certainly does.
George Hawanitz's team well balanced in that first half, 118 yards rushing, 110 yards passing. Cordish has 12 carries for 71 yards and a touchdown. Boone, 48 yards rushing, 90 through the air, 2 touchdowns. One he caught and one he threw. Berwick, meanwhile, the Valley View's defense has done a nice job with him. Just 142 total yards for Berwick, 14 of those through the air. As we said, Shoemaker had 8 carries for 55 yards. But the big story in that first half, the penalties. Combined, the teams had 14 penalties that they took 173 yards. It is almost laughable, isn't it?
I'm sorry, that's just...
Berwick had 8 penalties for 108 yards. Here's Tegan Wilk. Wilk with room. Tegan Wilk up past the 45. A nice special teams return by Tegan Wilk, and that hopefully can get Berwick started.
That gives them great field position to start the half.
How often do you see a kickoff that's kind of fumbled and then picked up? Here makes a nice cut. Causes a miss there, a whiff.
Oh, Wilk shaken up a little bit. They help him up. He is on the sidelines now. We'll check on that. He's on the bench being checked by the trainer. So Alex Force back out. Didn't have a good first half through the air. Try a little set option, and Force nowhere to go. The defense there again for the Cougars.
You'll see 9 white shirts on Berwick's side of the line of scrimmage that time.
They go with the option. They're trying to go with the direction this way. And Force, he's quite an athlete. But there's just nothing there. And Stan, like you said, it's kind of tough to run when there's 8, 9 white jerseys coming at you.
Well, his nickname is the Cat. And right now the Cougars taking their shot at the Cat. And there is Tegan Wilk. That'll be a big loss for him and for Berwick. Inside again to that freshman fullback, Aiden Mason, up to the midfield.
Puts the Dogs in a 3rd and 5, Bob.
Yeah, one of the keys to the game for Valley View coming in were long down and distances.
And they've done a tremendous job of making Berwick go long.
Watch a bubble screen here.
Coach Sheptock now changing the play from the sidelines. 10 seconds on the play clock. Force with pressure. Goes over the middle. A low pass, but it's grabbed. Good catch again by Blake Maurer, the sophomore.
There was great pressure from number 60, Logan Burns, the 5'11", 200-pound junior this year. For Valley View, putting that pressure on.
One of the keys here was to keep that young man inside the pocket as much as they possibly could.
Juggled, a nice catch by Maurer. The Dogs on the move. Inside to Mason. Nice gain there of 7.
Valley View hasn't been able to really stop that read option. They just hand the ball to the running back in the A gaps or B gaps, whether it's inside or outside zone.
2nd and a long 3.
Haven't seen a lot of Dallas Schechterly, number 36, on the offensive side. He was the starting fullback, at least coming in. No turnovers, almost costly one right there.
This has got to be very frustrating for Coach Sheptock to see these kinds of mistakes.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a low snap, you know, you're getting momentum, great field position to start the half, and then just a low snap and he drops it. But again, heads up play to get on it, not try to make anything else happen.
And a 3rd and long again now.
Yep.
Berwick not helping their case. Little out, they got Robbins, who makes the catch at the 15. 23 yards for Justin Robbins.
And on this play, number 9 for Valley View, Alex Sovkov, he kind of just got beat to the outside. The ball was right there, a little underthrown. He had to come back for it. Good concentration.
Rob is a senior. His 4th catch of the year. Coach Sheptock not liking what he's seeing, calls an early timeout here in the 3rd.
That's one of the few mistakes that Valley View has made in terms of their alignment or their coverages and such. Whatever happened to Alex, that whether he was confused as to what he was in, but the receiver simply ran right by him.
The Rose Insurance timeout on the field, called by Berwick, their 1st of the half.
Clarkey's Billiards has a new location now on Providence Road in Scranton, across from Memorial Stadium. Clarkey's is open 7 days a week and offers free pool lessons from the area's premier billiards professional, Kevin Clark. Enjoy a family-friendly atmosphere and free pool cues and free music on Fridays. Clarkey's Billiards, 850 Providence Road, Scranton.
Stan, did you see anything why Coach Sheptock would have called that timeout?
No, I didn't. I was watching Valley View's defensive alignment, so I really missed what the Bulldogs were trying to do. Obviously, it was something that Coach Sheptock didn't like.
He didn't like it, and
especially
he changed
down
it.
here inside the 20-yard line, you don't want to be misaligned or.
Berwick needs to come up with some kind of points. They're inside the Manuka Subaru red zone. We're going to cut into the Cougar lead. Force is going to keep it. Gets to the outside and is knocked out of bounds by number 9, Zafkoff. He's just outside the 10.
You've got to play your gap responsibility on these plays. This zone read is difficult, and somebody has to set that edge so that when the quarterback does keep it, somebody's going to be there.
Valley View was in a cover 2 shell that time, and with the motion, he dropped it back, and that set that up for Force to run that in there.
Shoemaker puts his head down inside the 10 near a first down. One thing that cost Berwick last week, Stan, was fumbles.
9 of them?
They had 9.
They had 9 fumbles. They lost, what, 5 of them in that game? So they've fumbled the ball 13 times this year as Berwick.
Which is unusual. And to win a game after 9 turnovers does say a lot about Coach Sheptock, and he talked about the resiliency of his Bulldog team.
Don't need a fumble here. Shoemaker to the 5. They'll pick up a first down. It'll be first and goal for the Bulldogs. Right there. This drive started to begin this half at their own 45 and done a nice job mixing it up. 10th play of the drive for Berwick.
First and goal from the 5.
Force there, but so was Treyon Jones.
Again, we came into this game knowing that they were Valley View was going to use Treyon a little bit differently than they used him in the past, and you'll see right here he comes up inside rather than coming off the edge.
They've got to clean that snap up. That was a little tall. That was a little high, and even for Trevor, he's a tall kid, and that ball he had to come up and then bring that down.
That's Treyon Jones's 8th tackle for a loss on the season, and it's a big one. Shoemaker trying to get the edge. Shoemaker in for a Manuka Subaru touchdown for the Berwick Bulldogs.
On that play, Owen Shoemaker was looking to go inside, and he just kept going to the outside. He's looking. Great block out there.
Down in the red zone like that, the defenders, they cannot catch blocks. They've got to try to get upfield and force him to bounce or just try to get to the ball carrier.
Get that man off of you,
if they're
right.
catching blockers, it's going to result in a touchdown as it did.
And Alex Sherkuski did a nice job on the stalk block out there.
Groschek's kick is good. 11 play, 55-yard drive. The lead now 14 for Valley View. Berwick has a little momentum.
You're watching Friday Night Rivals on my TV, WQNY.
We're back at Crispin Field. The Bulldogs put a nice drive together to begin the second half. After the kick, we'll talk about that. Groschek tees it up. Nice long kick. This one's going out of bounds, though, so good field position. Another flag on Berwick. So, guys, what have you seen from Berwick that changed from the first half?
Well, they were able to run the ball pretty successfully. I think they're going to have to pass. They're going to have a little bit more balance. They have to use Alex Force's ability to throw the ball, to get on the edge and throw it. If they do that, they're going to be able to generate a little bit more success on the offensive side of the football.
Your attendance. No one has picked up the 50-50 winning ticket number. Here it is again. 186-046.
Well, Coach Shoptock said at halftime coming out, he just wants to play Bulldog football, and they did. They almost took 5 minutes off the clock, and Stan, you're right, they're going to have to get the ball up. And again, I know Coach Shoptock's his personality. He's not going to push the panic button, come out and start forcing things, no pun intended, with his quarterback. But he just wants to establish, and now the kids, I think, will settle down and play. Now this is going to be a big series for them on defense.
They picked up momentum. Let's see what Valley View is going to do as far as an answer is concerned.
Valley View forced them to kick again, and this Groshek gets it down to the 10. Chase Combs has it. Good field position for Valley View right at the 30. So the Cougars come onto the field with Janasa Boone. He's caught a touchdown, he's thrown a touchdown, and he's run the ball pretty well in that first half.
We'll see whether Valley View is going to make any adjustments, whether the Bulldogs are going to make any adjustments. This is going to be a cat and mouse game at this particular point.
And Tegan Wilk is back out on the field for the Bulldogs, so it just must have been just a preventative or just got one of those I hate when you got kicked on the shin.
They also wrapped up his arm. Going to try to run Boone to the outside. This time Berwick is there, no gain. Great tackle out there, looks like by Blaine Cleaver, number 9.
Not a lot of room running this to the short side of the field. There's too many bodies over there wearing blue shirts.
And you use the sideline as that 12th man.
Exactly. Doesn't allow the runner, in this case Janasa, who's pretty fast, to outrun people.
Preston Robbins for Valley View was the man who took down Boone, number 11. About a yard gain, that's about all. Back to the I they go for the Valley View. Cordish. Just to get 2 was tough. Third down and long.
That just as easily could have been a 4-yard loss. He was in the backfield, and there was a defender that had penetrated, and he managed to make a move and get back a little bit beyond the line of scrimmage.
With the way that Coach plays that Virginia Tech defense, you saw on that one, that defensive line, they got the push they wanted. And like you said, they had them for a 4-yard loss.
They just let those guys come off the football. I'm not sure they've got gap responsibilities as much as they want to disrupt the offensive blocking pattern.
Big down for Berwick.
Here they come off the edge.
Get out quick to Cordish, but the Berwick defense is there. And Valley View will be forced to punt.
Going back into the short side of the field again you're reducing your chances for cutbacks and things like that to some degree. Remember, the flow of the defense is coming from left to right, and that's where the pass went.
And you have a right-handed quarterback throwing left.
You feel the momentum shifting a little bit towards the Bulldogs. And Valley View hold up. They're going to punt now. Big rush, and they almost got it. Fair catch called at the 37.
Cam Graphics is your #1 source in NEPA for screen print, embroidery, printing, and more. High quality and customer service is our specialty. For a free consultation and quote, contact us today or check us out on Facebook.
Fans of Berwick trying to get their team motivated. Down 14 now. They've come out, done the job on offense, done the job on defense. Can they keep it going now?
Well, I said earlier that was going to be a key stop for them on defense. They get the ball back in decent field position.
Shoemaker really nowhere to go. A little bit bigger push. They still can't get him down. It should have been a yard or 2, turned into 5.
Coach, you always talk about the yards after a catch. How about the yards after contact?
Initial hit, yep.
Yeah, initial hit. And we have a Berwick. Oh.
That's Shoemaker?
I think that is Mr. Shoemaker.
He was trying to stretch for everything, and then everyone just pounded on him. They held his leg down.
A powerful runner like that, when you have gang tackling, but it's all high, he's just dragging people. You've got to get around his ankles, his lower legs, and hold on until the rest of the defense gets there. And they've got to drop their pad level and just try to neutralize his forward motion.
When they talk about the hawk tackling technique, where the rugby type, where you get your head across the backside so it's not in front, and again, that was aimed at their hips, and you're supposed to wrap legs.
Next week, Berwick off to Hazleton just down the road. That'll be a tough game against the 6A team. They have Crestwood. Then that big game again right here at Dallas, or right here at Berwick against Dallas, and they have Coughlin to end the season. So winnable games in there. Tough one with Dallas, but they have to get by Valley View first.
I don't think they're even thinking about any other game right now. And this is unfortunate because Berwick has a little bit of momentum, and now with their best running back on the ground right now, well, they have that freshman next man up mentality, so I'm sure they'll be ready to roll.
Next week, our crew will be up the Lackawanna Trail, Lackawanna Football Conference, Class A football. Old Forge comes to town. Old Forge losing to Dunmore tonight, right? And Lackawanna Trail, they were winning their game. So maybe that'll be a big game up there next week right here on my TV. But first things first, have to get through this one. Number 2 in the state versus number 1, according to the Pennsylvania Football News. It's lived up to its hype, but not maybe some people surprised the way Valley View has played.
Absolutely. The rankings are kind of subjective. You know, the people who make these.
Yes, go ahead, Stan. What about the rankings? Go ahead, Stan.
The rankings are kind of, they're not very scientific. They're obviously the people that do the ranking, they don't see all these teams.
No.
They get reports from probably trail or guys that they have confidence in, and it's all relative. There's so many factors that have to be taken into consideration. The strength of the opponents, and things like that.
Shoemaker, you saw, walked off the field. Hopefully he's okay. And roll option. Try the option to the outside.
And that was just a miscommunication on that option right there. I mean, he's just coming across. He does a nice job reading that fullback, pulls, comes down the line of scrimmage, and it was just above his head.
Well, we see a flag down. It's going to go against Berwick.
And that's Jaden Duplessis that's on the ground, looks to be injured.
We're shaking up Cougar, as Coach just mentioned. Holding things up.
It appears that Owen Shoemaker's, he's on the bench getting his calves kind of massaged, maybe cramped up, carrying all those guys. I can understand why his calf muscles would be stressed.
Who knew Cougars weighed so much?
They're a big football team.
They really are, and they're solid.
I'm just amazed anymore at the size of offensive and defensive linemen on a high school level.
So on that play, Wilka's out, Shoemaker's out. Somebody's in who really isn't used to getting the ball a lot, and he fumbled. It was Jake Seeley, number 6.
Number 6, and
he's
again,
a senior, but again, a guy that's not used to taking the pitch.
And if you're not really schooled, how much time did he get at the option today or this week? Not much.
Yeah, especially if he's number 3 in the backfield.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't even have any numbers on it. So the penalty, meanwhile, backs Berwick up inside their 25.
Is that their 11th penalty for this evening?
Yeah, maybe. Force 4 or 5 yards, and 3rd along on the way.
You don't want to stop on the boundary like that. Step out of bounds because everybody's coming after you.
Especially
right at you.
Again, just as you said, and Stan, you played the position, and you know you don't need to take that extra, hit or two. And again, this late, going into this part of the season.
sometimes players think every play should be a touchdown, and they've got to take what they have without endangering themselves.
Another flag. Going to go a false start against Berwick. Number 12. Oh, they're going against Valley View.
Yep.
Oh, it was signal.
The Berwick faithful here are booing like crazy.
Yes.
The young men wearing those blue shirts need to just get some poise. Coach said something at halftime about resilience, and certainly that first drive showed some resilience on their part. But how you react to adversity sometimes really tells you where you're headed.
Coach, how many plays did you have for 3rd and 20 in your play sheet?
Not many.
He's going to try inside to the fullback, and here comes the punt team back on for Berwick. Valley View should get good field position.
And to answer your question, Jan, especially when everybody in the building knows you're going to throw it.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult. It's tough enough completing passes a normal down and distance situation. It becomes even more problematic if you're in a passing situation.
Sherkuski on for the punt. Combs back to receive with Zafkov. Nice high kick. No fair catch. This is Combs. Has a little bit of a seat up the middle. And is just nailed right at the 40.
A great burst. It's the hidden gem for your furniture shopping. C&O Furniture has mattress showroom in Einan, has 28,000 square feet of living room sets, dinettes, recliners, and bedroom suites. Visit C&O Furniture and Mattress Showroom, 265 3rd Street in Einan. Call 570-876-2318. C&O Furniture and Mattress.com.
Cordish into the secondary, gain of 8.
On first down, Berwick is stacking the line of scrimmage. They're down 4. They're walking 2 guys up off the edges, so they've got a 6-man front. They have 2 linebackers. And again, when Valley View's offense is in a tight formation, they've got almost everybody committed to the line of scrimmage.
And Cordish, is the way he runs and his vision, he's just picking them apart at this point.
Here you see that tight formation again.
If Berwick wants to get into it, they have to stop Valley View on this drive. Boone has a first down. They stays inbounds. Gain of 5. 2 minutes to play in the 3rd.
I'll give you a play here. If Valley View comes out in that same formation and releases this tight end to the right of the formation, running a corner route or a flag, whatever you want to call it, he'll be wide open.
Sebastianelli on that last play, he did a nice job leading for his quarterback. Stan, I was thinking with the power, if they went power eye left and they go bootleg right with it because everybody's flowing, and with the way Boone can run.
Here you see it.
Big push from the offensive line. Cordish for 7.
Cordish on the carry.
Coach Sheptock's not going to be happy when he watches this tape.
No, and on this,
his kids are really not disciplined at this particular point.
Sebastianelli right there. Yeah, they're just the push in there. That's not what I know. That's not what Coach does, and he's not going to accept that very much.
It's frustration.
It is.
They're 15, 16-year-old kids, and they're facing adversity. Not to make an excuse, but that's the way it is.
Power eye again.
Boone does a nice job just to get out of the way and gets the corner. And a late tackle, but no flag. First and goal inside the Manuka Subaru red zone. Wait,
it's coming
check that.
back.
It's coming back. Valley View this time with the hold.
Stan, he listened to my 18 boot coming around. That's what we would tell our quarterback. 18 boot coming to the right.
It was a good block by E.J. Alco on that.
So I think they're going to come back now with the power eye with the tight end pop.
You think?
Well, Coach, maybe, I don't know. They might be listening to us.
Holding Valley View.
So this will back up the Cougars now on second down. Let's look for the hold. It's not there.
Probably number, I don't know if they called it on
Number
3.
Yeah, he's got his shirt. He held.
That was Hawanitz.
When Dylan gets home, George is not going to be happy with him.
No, of course, yeah. Dylan and George are related. George is
He might make
father.
him walk home.
Well, no, he won't make
Not
him
from
walk.
Berwick.
So this takes them out of the Manuka Subaru red zone. They go back to the ground game. Nice job shooting in on the Berwick defense.
There's number 42.
Eric Montez, the junior, who came in with 22 tackles, 11 of those for a loss. That's a big one right there. So the Dogs get a break. Now they have 3rd and long. They'll have to
run this play.
Yep. Here you see the play again by Montez. Third quarter winding down, last play. Boone rolling, he's just gonna flip it. Nice job. Gets it to Kudrich, just outside the 11, makes that to Plessis with the reception. It's a gain of 15, and that's the way. Nope, 3 seconds left. Should be the last play of the quarter.
And they're picking on number 14, Naquan Smith from Berwick.
Janasa gets to the edge, and what Duplessis does here is he comes back to the football. That's a great, great characteristic. I know these guys are well coached by Corey Mitchko, who played at Valley View.
So Valley View trying to put this one away. We'll find out in the 4th.
Friday Night Rivals is brought to you by Toyota, Let's Go Places, Luzerne County Community College, Keystone College, Manuka Subaru, Shorten Homes, and Sylvester Chevrolet.
We're back to begin the 4th quarter. Cornish with the 11-yard touchdown for Berwick.
Watch this block by Brian Durkin.
A power eye set.
Just a tremendous gaping hole.
And they just the way they blocked it, tight end out, tackle down, fullback led through.
Valley View has done a nice job with adversity tonight. Every time they've been flagged, it seemed on a lot of drives, they've come back.
Both coaches are not happy with this officiating.
At the end of the quarter, we saw Coach H.
There's another flag again. But both coaches are John back at Chuck Suppan. And again, the officials have a job to do, whether they're doing it effectively or efficiently or accurately. That's for somebody else to decide. But there's no question that George was John with Chuck Suppan before. Frank was John with Suppan earlier. Again, another penalty.
Looks like Coach.
Foul.
Looks like Coach is making sure that his kids are settled down. And
there's not many teams that can come into Berwick and put it on the Dogs like Valley View has tonight.
Now this kickoff is going to be from probably the 50 or maybe the 45 of Berwick. And if history tells us anything, it's going to go through the end zone, which means Berwick has to go 80 yards.
Berwick had a chance to stop them on 3rd and long, but they couldn't. It was a 6-play, short field, 37-yard drive after the punt.
Janasa Boone, he's been the difference in this game. With his feet, with his arm, he's done some things here that are hard to prepare for. I mean, it's not like these were design plays every time. He's been able to get to the edge. He's been able to throw the ball with his body in a lot of different contorted angles and still get the ball to the receivers.
His composure, Coach.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, that's. And you said this is his first year, Q?
Yeah, he was a running back last year and played in the secondary. And he's a nice kid. He's got a great personality.
Well, don't leave out Schnippes, Alco, Judge, Sebastianelli, and Durkin.
Those
and that's
those
not
five
a law
guys.
firm. That's not a law firm.
John Schnippes is having a fantastic year for Valley View. He's the left tackle offensively, and he's done a lot of damage over the first 5 games. And, of course, people are focused on Brian Durkin, who's playing very well in spite of an injury. But that line is well-schooled, and they're very experienced.
Well, this is going to put Berwick at the 20 to begin this drive, now trailing again by 21.
First and 10 at their 20-yard line.
Clarkey's Billiards has a new location, now on Providence Road in Scranton, across from Memorial Stadium. Clarkey's is open 7 days a week and offers free pool lessons from the area's premier billiards professional, Kevin Clark. Enjoy a family-friendly atmosphere and free pool cue and free music on Fridays. Clarkey's Billiards, 850 Providence Road in Scranton.
Berwick, to say the least, has an uphill battle now.
Well, it's good to see Owen Shoemaker back in the lineup.
And Tegan Wilk as well.
Being 3
Shoemaker
scores
back.
down.
Here's Tegan Wilk. Well, last week, Forrest was forced to throw the ball a lot more than he wanted to. He's going to have to throw the ball now. Against Selinsgrove, he was 10 of 18, 142 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he can throw it.
Now Valley View has done some adjustments here. They brought in a couple of additional defensive backs, took out a defensive end and a linebacker. A 3-man front.
Well, they said they want to try to contain him.
Oh!
And wow, did he just
Hello.
get stuffed? Hello, number 6.
Kevin Duffy.
You're not going to see that very often if that was Owen Shoemaker going backwards. Great tackle by Duffy. Ooh.
Nice job coming off his block.
He did. He just beat number 55 to the inside. He didn't get his head across, and that inside just opened up.
There's another slant here.
Forced it outside over to Wilk, and they're going to call that a catch. Valley View doesn't agree. See if they come up quickly to the line of scrimmage. We'll take a look at it.
Well, he looked that slant off. There was nothing there, and then he rolls back to his right.
Looks like he had his hands under the ball.
But Trayon Jones gets Alex Force for a sack.
If you noticed on that defense, they lined up in that 3-3 stack, which I haven't seen Valley View run that.
In long distances, long yardage, they go to 3 down linemen. It's a 3-5 and 3 deep.
And again, that was on first down, and they just got him now long again.
Force was not sacked at all in the first 5 games. The Cougar defense has come to play tonight. All the hype was around the Berwick defense, but this Cougar defense has proven something.
Look at that.
Another big stop.
Number 10.
That was Consaretti, Jordan Consaretti.
Again, when you go for that swing out pass real quick, you're hoping they isolate one-on-one and spin to the outside, but Consaretti, boy, that was great concentration.
That's 2 tackles in a row. They're picturesque.
3rd and long. Good protection this time, and it breaks down. Jones has him, but Burns is right there again.
And Trayon Jones adding that extra pressure.
Surrounded and stacked in the backfield.
I know after speaking with Coach Iwanitz, he said that they were going to use Trayon a lot differently than they used him in the first 5 games, anticipating that Coach Sheptock would focus on Trayon because he's been such a force in terms of his blitzes coming off the edge.
Two sacks on that one, and Valley View now just going to watch that time tick away. Nice high kick. This drives Combs back to his 40. He's going to try to take it, and he's got some room. Chase Combs almost gets his head ripped off at the 45.
Brought down by number 71.
Mike Zaluko. Well, the offensive lineman.
To the Berwick 45. First and 10 for
Cam Graphics is your #1 source in northeastern Pennsylvania for screen print, embroidery, printing, and more. High quality and customer service is our specialty. For a free consultation and quote, contact us today or check us out on Facebook.
Valley View now just trying to roll the clock out. They'll have the ball on Berwick's side of the field again. 2 possessions in a row for them. This is Cordish. Hard 2 yards picked up.
Right side, short gain.
You're going to see the Bulldogs really crowd that line of scrimmage. And Valley View is going to still attempt to run the football effectively, use the clock.
Your attention, we've had a lost keys turned in here at the press box.
Looks like we have a Bulldog down. I'm hoping just with cramps, that's how it looks.
And a Premier Lincoln keychain.
Well, Stan, you have something in common with Coach Sheptock, don't you? You both played for Bloomsburg University.
We did.
So, of course, our Keystone College trivia question has to revolve around Bloomsburg. Well, Sheptock holds several defensive records at Bloomsburg. I know it was a long, you played in the 60s, he played in the 80s. Can you name 2 or 4?
Tackles.
Yes. Okay.
Tackles is
but,
1.
Well, yes, but like.
How many?
No, not, I don't need numbers. Maybe, I don't know. Paul Grippy's now on his phone.
On his phone.
He's waving at us.
He's waving. No, he doesn't know the answer.
The one thing that Coach Sheptock and I have in common at Bloomsburg is we're both in the Hall of Fame.
That's true. That's true. Well, we'll get to the trivia answer after a play or two. But surprisingly, he still holds those records for defense.
I have 1 left after 50 years.
I saw that one. Cordish there, taken down quickly. 3rd down on the way.
Another penalty.
Another penalty.
This is probably going to be against Valley View.
Cordish on the play after
that was
2.
Big John
Snippis.
Snippis out there. He was all the way back in the secondary.
Face mask on the Bulldogs.
Again, I keep saying they're picking on Naquin Smith out there, and he just, again.
Face mask.
Look at where that ball was, and look at where the penalty occurred. Look at where that tackle was. He's almost 15 yards downfield. What does that tell you about their offensive line?
That he went down, and again, the physicalness that he did. He got right into his face, and he just put his hand on his face mask, and you can't do that.
Wow.
You don't even see him in the picture on the replay because he's the right tackle, left tackle, and he went all the way down.
On that replay, you could see Mason. You could see Cordish really driving ahead. 2 or 3 yards, but he's always going forward.
So after the penalty, the ball outside the 25. Boone with room. Tegan Wilk shoves him out of bounds after a nice gain.
And Cordish not only runs the ball, he did a nice job with that lead block to spring Boone for that extra yard.
And we saw him make some tackles as well. He's a complete football player.
Here's the answer. Defensive records held at Bloomsburg for Coach Sheptock. You got tackles, and there's one other one. So let's go to the answer.
Fumble recoveries.
Yes, how did you know?
I guessed.
You guessed. We're going to see the answer.
2nd and 1 from the Berwick 18.
Tackles in the game.
Fumble
tackles
recoveries,
in the season.
12.
Oh, wow, I'll tell you. What do I win, Bob?
A ride home.
Oh, dear God.
Cordish into the secondary. Down inside the 10 for Valley View.
Well, this game has evolved pretty much as we said in terms of how it was going to be determined, and that is that the guys wearing those numbers up front have dominated for most of this game.
They're just wearing down Berwick.
And the thing is, I believe every one of the defensive or offensive linemen only go one way. I don't think any of them
Nope.
are starting.
They're not.
And that's a big thing, especially since they've had the ball as long as they've had it.
Yeah, they definitely have held the time of possession. They're in the Manuka Subaru red zone again. Knocking on the door. Cordish towards the end zone, just a yard short.
Cordish powering down inside the 5.
Now things get a little chippy.
Another flag.
A little chippy. Well, Berwick coming in 5-0. They have a lot of confidence, and I think they're a little shell-shocked.
And again, Durkin does a tremendous job. He steps with that left foot, drops the right foot back to influence that defensive end, and he just has his butt in the hole for the running back to go right through there.
Personal foul on Valley View. And double foul.
Double foul?
Yeah. Well, offsetting penalties. But it's on the 1 yard line.
First and goal.
This will send the message across the state, Bob, if you want to take the rankings as serious or having validity.
After the run to the 1 yard line.
Second down and goal, I should say. It's still inside the Manuka Subaru red zone. We're going to have a timeout on the field.
Berwick calls a timeout.
Berwick calls the timeout. Coach Sheptak wants to ask him a question, so let's see what the Cougars have coming up the rest of the season. They have a couple tough games. Western Wayne's not an easy out. Dallas, they're going to Dallas. Scranton is 6-18, and then ending that season at North Pocono. North Pocono's on a 4-game winning streak. Anyone?
Yeah, Western Wayne. I think I was looking up the score to see. I believe they were only down by 2 points tonight. But again, at Dallas, so they have to come back down to the Valley, as road trip, and then they're back home with Scranton and North Pocono. Now, the 6A team that they got to come against is Scranton, right?
Yep.
And they only have 1 win going into tonight's game.
And that's going to be a huge difference with the power points.
Well, they have teams with winning records the last 3 or 4 games. And they all have winning records except for Scranton.
And that adds
to the power points as well. Of course, this big win, you expect Berwick to go on, a couple more wins. They'll take control of that. But how about North Pocono, Coach? They've done a nice job after getting beat by
Donnie
West.
Blaine and Walsh have done a good job throwing the ball, catching the ball.
We'll see North Pocono against Prep tomorrow. Coach and I will head down to that. Boone in for his second touchdown of the night, and this one's pretty much done. It's a Manuka Subaru touchdown for Valley View, and it ups the lead now, 34-7.
Watch the smarts here on Janasa Boone. Instead of just going right up the center, he goes all the way out to the tackle tight end gap and walks in.
They just washed it right down. A tremendous job.
If you told me before this game, or us, I should say, that it would be 34-35-7, that Berwick would only put 7 points up tonight, I think everyone would look at us like we had 6 heads. Well, that's the way it is. And Valley View is on the way to pick up win number 6, cruising over Berwick here in Christmas Field. Faithful from Valley View who came down to Crispin Field are going to be leaving happy here tonight. Their team up by 28 now late in this game as Mason does a nice job on the return up to the 35-yard line.
From the goal line to the 35-yard line.
Back to work from Berwick this week. Coach Sheptak going to work them, and they have a big game against Hazleton. They're not easy.
A lot of unforced errors in the form of penalties. I'm not sure how you fix that other than to try to stress that you have to be disciplined. How many personal fouls did they commit? That type of thing. You have to clean that up, or it's going to cost you down the road.
And to try to keep track of those personal fouls, because if they get a second one, they're ejected for the next game.
Out to a swing pass. Nice job out there by 25, Maurer.
It's outside containment and rolls across the 50-yard line.
It's a good ball that time. stalk block by number 5. Kind of came off early, but then he went on to the inside. And that allowed Blake to get a couple extra yards.
Force back. Had a guy up behind Cordish, but it was thrown just a little bit too far.
That shouldn't happen. At this stage of the game, there should never be a receiver deeper than any of the defensive backs. I don't know what the coverage was. I didn't see the alignment.
But there wasn't like a big play action play either. So.
And you know they're going to be throwing the ball on almost every down. If they're in a cover 2 here, they're not getting any help from the safety.
It was intended for Jacob Betts. Force back again.
Got a switch route up top.
Caught behind the line of scrimmage
And
again
guess
by
who it is?
Jones.
Trayon Jones with another sack of force in the backfield.
He's literally has been a force, and he's just putting that pressure on, and he's relentless. And he goes down low, Stan. He's wrapping those legs.
You know, he was the 3rd string tailback last year for Valley View. And of course, he's not getting many touches with Mason Cordish there.
But when you have athletes, you got to get them on the field.
Yes, you do.
Trayon Jones has been a one-man wrecking crew the second half in the backfield of Berwick. Under 6 to play here, Crispin. Going to give it to I believe Shoemaker for a couple yards. Duffy on the tackle. But Sheptak going to leave his offense out.
You can see the frustration in Berwick's kids. Their body language tells you that they're not doing very well psychologically at this point.
I mean, they got really tested today by Valley View.
Intercepted.
Mark Kudrich.
Kudrich on the INT, overthrown by Force.
Played a great center field on that.
He really did.
He used his basketball skills, went up and got the rebound.
And on this play, they go with the fake toss to try to get them moving. Force sets up, has time.
Heck, we had Kudrich last year in the playoff game, and yeah, he's their best basketball player. Playing a little football now.
He was thrilled. I spoke to him back early in the season and talked to him just for a couple minutes, and he was happy to be back on the football field.
There was a penalty on Valley View. So this is going to back them up to the 20.
Well, we'll see 3 running plays here.
2 timeouts remaining for the Dogs for what it's worth.
Is it possible that these 2 teams could meet again?
First and 10 for
Somewhere
I
down
think it's very possible. I think Dallas, North Pocono will have something to say about that. Dallas still, controls their own fate. They play
do.
both of these teams.
And again, with the 8-man or the 8 teams going into the playoffs, you know you're gonna see both these teams, plus Dallas, North Pocono. So I think, Stan, to answer I think they will be seeing each other again. Looking at the kids from Valley View, they're a little jazzed up right now. They know they got this, but they're going to keep their composure.
You know, it makes the trip back to Peckville much more pleasant.
Well, there's Janasa Boone. Missed the first game with an injury, but since then has played up to an all-star caliber quarterback position.
He's a difference maker. He's a playmaker. It's, for instance, in practice, how do you practice against that? Other than maybe put a spy on him.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that on the part of the Bulldog defense, but he's so quick, and I love his decision making. I think that he's shown tremendous leadership and poise.
Plus, give a lot of credit to the Berwick, the Valley View defense.
They really have stymied Berwick all night, and then the pressure, the bad field position, it's just been compounding the problems for Berwick this evening.
And Berwick hasn't helped themselves with the flags either. So
no.
Boone still fighting. Gets a first down, so that will keep the clock rolling here near the 3-minute mark of play.
I'm not sure I would want him in the game at this point.
I was just going to ask you that, Stan, because we've had this conversation. The game's pretty much put away.
Jordan Consaretti can come in. He played in the first game and hand the ball off. Get Janasa off the field. Got to give a lot of credit to Coach Iwanitz, handles the defense. His schemes have been really terrific, going back to the prep game 2 weeks ago and against Honesdale. And a shout out to Scott Wasilchak, who's the play caller for the Cougars.
Now, is Scott calling offense or defense?
The offense, and George calls
George
the
is
defense.
calling the D?
Yep.
Yeah, well, Coach Iwanitz was on the state championship team as the quarterback, and then went to Bucknell and played on defense.
Right. Well, he played on defense with Valley View as well.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, yeah. Frank Pizzalia was the coach then.
George was a running back playing quarterback. He didn't throw the ball very well.
No, not at all. They ran the ball pretty well.
Coach
that year.
Pizzalia didn't allow it to be thrown too well.
Yep. Coach Iwanitz said he played here. They lost to Valley View in 1991 when he was a junior. 2 minutes to play.
Coach Iwanitz's youngest son, Adam. Adam is in 8th grade. He's the quarterback on the freshman team, and he's about 6'5". And
really?
Yeah, and he's a
grade.
very good basketball player, and he can throw the ball pretty well. And I said to him, I saw him on the field before the game, and I said to him, you know, we call him Bomber. I said, you know, you throw the ball a lot better than your father.
Here's what our Friday Night Rivals crew has in store for the next few weeks before we head into the playoffs. Again, we'll be at Lackawanna Trail next week with Old Forge. That should be a good game. Nanticoke heads to Lakeland. Lewisburg at Central Columbia. Central Columbia tonight was beating Danville. I didn't get a Lewisburg score. And we'll end the year with the rivalry of the Bridge, Wyoming area and Pittston areas. We have a timeout delay of game called against Valley View. And then we'll head to the district playoffs in November. So believe it or not, Coach and I were talking on the ride down, Jan. It's week 6 already. Next week, we already week 7 of high school football.
It's crazy how fast this has gone for me, not being on the sideline, but being up here in this press box week in and week out with the way these games are, the type of teams we've been covering. You know, shout out to the crew. They've done a tremendous job over the last 6 weeks.
It's in crunch time now. Towards the end of the season, we're talking about district playoffs and what's going to happen into the playoffs. These two teams definitely we may see again right here on My TV. Couple runs now. Zach Manchak, the junior, as they run out the clock. It's a big confidence booster for the Cougars. Back to work for the Dogs as week 7 of high school football will take place next week.
Well, again, it's a long season, and we've talked about it. Stan and I and Bob, you're part of that too. That it's a grind. It really is. And you know, now these guys, fortunately, there was no injuries this evening. And these guys,
no serious ones, right?
Yeah, they're just, you know, a lot of, I think, pride has been hurt tonight for Berwick. But I know Coach Sheptock's going to get these kids. They got to get dialed back in. Again, we got a game next week, and that's what he's going to be getting these guys and preaching to them.
Don't forget to join us for our vlog each week. It's posted on Thursday on Fox56.com and on Facebook. Jan, Stan, and I breaking down some of the big games in our area, including our game of the week and then some teams that we'll see the following week. That's our Friday Night Rivals vlog at Fox56.com on Thursdays. A couple storylines from this one. The play of Boone, the play of the offensive line from Valley View. And penalties would be your headline, or
well, Coach,
one of them.
One of them, yeah.
Yeah, Coach Sheptock's not. I mean, again, I think we lost count. It was 12.
Yeah,
and
up near 15. And on the punt, that will do it. Valley View moves to 6-0. Berwick drops to 5-1. The final score, Cougars 35, the Bulldogs 7. Paul Grippy going to join us on the sidelines and with our players of the game. And we'll get a quick wrap from you guys. Who wants to go first? You're both looking at your phones for scores. Jan?
Yeah, we were. We were trying to see what was going on around this wonderful Northeast Pennsylvania football. I'll tell you what, Valley View, I know Stan is from the Scranton area, and I know he has connections there. They were so well coached this evening, and the way they came out, their composure, the way they ran the ball, Janessa Boone throwing, the offensive line doing their thing. Trayon Jones wreaked havoc on defense, and Berwick just couldn't find the answer. But again, I know they have a young offensive line, and again, Coach Shep will get these guys going. And congratulations to Valley View.
Valley View did a great job tonight of using their athletes. Of course, the top of that list is Janessa Boone, Mason Cordich. Didn't have a game where he was great yardage-wise, but he still did very, very well.
Okay, Paul Grippy has our players of the game. First up, that quarterback, Mr. Boone.
All right, a very happy quarterback at 6-0. Tell me how the offense worked so well tonight. It looked like the line was doing well. What made your plays execute successfully?
The line, we had to start clicking in the first quarter because we came out and we had the turnover. So everything after that was just smooth sailing kind of. It was just a great game, and Berwick fought the whole game. We fought the whole game, and then Valley View just comes up with the battle and we won. So.
Into the first half, you scored the touchdown. What was that call there, and how'd you like that?
Philly. You stole that from the Eagles. It's a great play, obviously, and I guess it was just a nice little trick play that we ran.
All right, thanks. Good game, Janessa Boone, player of the game. Another player of the game, guy with a big smile on his face, Trayon Jones. You came down here undefeated. They're also undefeated. What did it mean to you to beat them on their field like this?
It meant everything. Since last year beating them, and just this year coming in with a lot of momentum and just playing aggressive.
What was practice like this week? I mean, little extra focus, remembering last year's district championship. How did it go leading up to this game?
Pretty much the same. We still work hard every day at practice, do our drills, do our lineups, and that's it.
Would you think that, are you thinking maybe you're going to see them again later in the season, in the postseason?
I think it's a possibility, definitely.
Right. Thanks a lot. Congratulations on a good game. Bob, our players of the game, Janessa Boone, Trayon Jones with a 6-0 Valley View football team.
Trayon Jones pretty much wreaked havoc in the backfield of Berwick in the second half, came out with 3 big sacks. So Coach Hawanitz back to work. Coach Sheptock as well. The very happy Valley View team going to go over and sing their alma mater and have a nice drive home up to Peckville. For Berwick, back to work. They have Hazelton next week. They're on the road, and maybe we'll see these two teams one more time. There's the final score. Next week we'll be on the road. We'll be at Lackawanna Trail as we have Old Forge coming to town in a big game. That's next Friday at 7. For Paul Grippy, Stan Koharski, Jan Cichak, Bob Ide, and the entire Fox City 6 sports crew, good night from Berwick.
This is Friday Night Rivals on MyTV WQMY.